In this lecture, we will talk about how can we enforce our accounts with extra protection layers. Two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication, also called the 2FA or two-step or multi-factor authentication, is the process of verifying someone's identity with 2 out of 3 possible identifiers: the password, the access token, and your unique biometrical data. The first thing in the list, the password or passphrase, is almost always required for the authentication procedure of most services out there. And you already know all the security issues with passwords, so it is a password that is being enforced by the second factor to make your account more secure and hacker-proof by requiring an additional factor such as secret code taken from an authenticator app or sent by SMS to your phone. You can seriously reduce the risk of being hacked. Two-factor authentication is typically a combination of your passphrase and an additional secret key, the second factor. This key is often a token generated by a device or an app in your possession. I should note that there are 2 types of tokens generating devices. First, response-based online tokens, and second, offline tokens. Online tokens most often offer the ability to respond in a way to a server and digitally sign the response to make the transaction hacker-proof. Smart cards with special chips containing kind of encryption keys can be used as a second factor for authentication of this type. However, online tokens are susceptible to man-in-the-middle attacks and require a live connection in order to authenticate the processor. Offline tokens have no direct connection to the entity requesting authentication. There are 3 primary types of offline tokens: one-time passwords and sequence-based token, and time-based token. The idea behind the sequence-based token is you should have a list of pre-agreed numbers. Even if attackers spy on your communication channel, they would never know the next valid number in the sequence. A very popular approach here is an on-demand one-time password. One-time passwords are unbreakable if used properly. Today, the modern implementation of one-time passwords involve an authentication token being delivered to user via the SMS or automated call. Although the idea itself is close to perfect, due to the latest problems with SS7 breach, you can never be sure, with a good degree of paranoid attitude, that your mobile communication channel is secure. So, if possible, one-time passwords should be delivered through encrypted channels or messengers, but never via SMS or GSM calls. Still, this is a very good option, and being used by banks and payment gateways, these passwords were never, with my recollection, stolen by interception of GSM signal. It can be stolen much more easily from your poorly protected device. If you have ever used Google Authenticator or any app based on it, you have seen a time-based token. Time-based tokens are battery powered and hash the current number of seconds since the 1st of January 1970 and display a portion of the result on the screen, typically 6 to 8 digits. The hashing process is based on a shared secret that allows the authenticator to compute the value on the screen and ensure it matches the input. Now let's speak about the third piece of the system, your biometrics. Facial recognition, fingerprints, the vein pattern, your unique iris print, or your retinal pattern. Options like vein patterns and retina scans, as well as fingerprint reading, are very accurate, and despite being still expensive, they become more and more cheap year after year as technologies evolve. Today, a good portion of not so expensive smartphones offer fingerprint scanners, and fingerprints are good enough as a second factor. It's unlikely that someone will steal your password or token in addition to having a suitable fingerprint. On the other hand, facial recognition and iris prints are too easy to spoof. Sometimes they can be tricked even with a printout photo, so I would say they are too unreliable to depend on them for authentication. That is why I should note that two-factor authentication is not a panacea, although it dramatically improves security of your sensitive data, so I would advise you to take advantage of it.